When you screw something up and someone drags you through the mud for it, making you feel like garbage, you spend days nursing that wounded pride of yours, licking those raw, emotional cuts like a beaten dog. Here's the raw truth you need to burn into your mind. Messing up is not some catastrophic character flaw. It's human. It's natural. It's unavoidable. Everyone stumbles. Everyone falls flat on their face. There's no escape hatch from this reality. You cannot possibly learn a single thing worth knowing unless you trip over yourself first. Think of yourself as a cloud drifting through the sky, except you're made of flesh and bone. Clouds never worry about making mistakes. Have you ever looked up and seen some twisted, hideous cloud that looked wrong? Have you ever watched the ocean and thought that wave was poorly designed, badly formed, incorrectly shaped? Never. They flow exactly as they should. They exist without apology. If you can treat yourself like that cloud, like that wave, even for a short while, and truly grasp that you cannot make a real mistake no matter what you do, because even when you create what looks like total chaos and destruction, somehow everything works itself out in the end. Then something magical happens. You'll grow this unshakable confidence deep in your bones. And through that confidence, you'll learn to trust your gut, your instincts, your inner voice. Stop rushing everything. Stop obsessing over tomorrow. Stop torturing yourself about how much progress you're making or not making. Just be completely okay with simply noticing what's actually here right now. Because life isn't some straight highway leading to one fixed finish line. It's a flowing river, a rising tide, a melody that keeps changing. And those so-called mistakes you beat yourself up over? They're nothing but rhythm changes, tempo shifts, part of the dance that life is performing. Take Japan, for instance. There's this strange thing that happens there with mistakes. Students study English for years and years, but they're terrified to actually speak it. Why? Because what they learned wasn't the living, breathing language people actually use. They memorized dead fragments from old books, polished sentences from authors long gone, and they're mortified to try speaking unless they're completely drunk out of their minds. In those moments when alcohol washes away the fear, they speak freely and beautifully because that terror of saying the wrong thing has melted away. Music works the same way. I knew this brilliant anthropologist who learned piano exactly like I did. His teacher was a strict woman who placed a tiny eraser and a razor blade on top of each hand to keep his posture perfect. And every single time he hit a wrong note, she'd crack his knuckles hard with a pencil. Years later, when a truly gifted teacher in San Francisco tried working with him, she was shocked. This smart man was completely frozen. He couldn't read notes anymore. He blocked at everything, paralyzed by old fear. A wiser teacher once told me something powerful. You must not be terrified of hitting wrong notes. Play them anyway. Keep the beat going. Even if every single note is wrong, that's how you break through the blockage, the shame, the guilt that's strangling you. Freedom means exactly this, the freedom to mess up royally, the freedom to be a complete idiot and not spend the rest of your life punishing yourself when you realize you were. See it clearly, own it fully, and then do it less next time. The biggest mistake you'll ever make is spending your whole life afraid you'll make one. That fear is like standing at the edge of a beautiful stream, too scared to step in, and never knowing how cool and refreshing the water feels, never learning how to swim and move through it. The mind creates this weird tension, this idea that somewhere there must be a way to glide through life without ever slipping, without ever hitting a sour note. So we become tight, frozen, ridiculously cautious. Most people live this way and call it being smart, but it's really a slow death that drains all the color and sparkle from living. When you're scared to take a risk, that's exactly when you should take it. Fear is just the shadow that possibility casts. What you leave undone will haunt you just as much as what you did badly, but without the satisfaction of having actually tried. Only those who do absolutely nothing make no mistakes, and in doing nothing, they make the most serious error possible. Better to stumble forward than to stand frozen in place. A wrong note played in rhythm still belongs to the music. A misstep taken with confidence still moves you forward on your path. Life doesn't wait for you to become perfect before letting you dance. You cannot learn anything worthwhile unless you make mistakes. This is how the whole thing works. We learn balance only by falling over. We learn to speak only by mangling our words. We learn to love only by losing our footing in someone else's arms. Life isn't a straight line, but a series of gorgeous stumbles that together create the dance. The problem is we were raised to think of life like a journey, a pilgrimage with some serious goal at the end, and the whole point was reaching that destination. Success, enlightenment, heaven waiting after death. So we miss the point every step of the way. Life isn't a journey meant to be completed. It's a musical piece, and you're supposed to sing or dance while the music plays. In the natural world, failure doesn't exist. A tree bending in strong wind isn't doing it wrong. A river changing its course hasn't ruined anyone's plan. Nature works entirely through trial, change, and variation. What we call mistakes are simply nature's way of discovering what works. There's no reason to fear what's coming because the future is just a concept. It doesn't actually exist. Time is always right now. When fear of the unknown gets replaced with curiosity, we discover ourselves floating in an endless river of possibility. Life isn't a problem demanding a solution. It's an experience meant to be lived. And those so-called mistakes are simply threads in that experience. Being alive means being unfinished, and being unfinished means always learning, always changing. Perfection is a ghost we chase but can never catch. It's just an image in our heads, smooth, flawless, completely still. And because it's still, it's dead. Nature knows nothing about it. In all the seasons unfolding, in every cloud's shape and river's curve, there's not one straight line, not one flawless surface. Yet everything fits together without force. We're taught to imagine that somewhere the right way exists, the perfect note, the perfect step, the perfect word, and our job is finding it and repeating it forever without changing. But this confuses the echo with the music itself. Life's vitality lives in variation, in change, in the unexpected twist. Without imperfection, neither you nor I would exist. It's the odd turn of a branch that catches sunlight just right. It's the offbeat in the rhythm that makes the music sway. When we try to smooth out every deviation, we flatten the very thing that makes life alive. So the idea of perfection becomes the most imperfect idea of all, a standard that strips the color from the tapestry and the movement from the dance. When you see that perfection doesn't exist in nature, you're freed from trying to reach it. Then you can live like clouds live, like waves live, moving exactly as you must without apologizing. Some people say God never makes mistakes. God is perfect, so everything God makes must be perfect too. I'd agree, but not in the usual way. If all of existence is God's work, then what you call a mistake is already part of that perfection. Only by separating the smooth from the rough in our minds do we imagine something went wrong. But if the rough is part of the whole picture, it belongs just as much as the smooth. A violent storm is no less perfect than a calm sea. A shadow is no less perfect than the light creating it. If you see perfection this way, it doesn't mean absence of flaws, it means the completeness of everything together. In that completeness, what we call imperfection is simply a detail in the pattern, necessary for the pattern to be what it is. So if God is perfect, then even your stumbles are already folded into that perfection, just as a wrong note once played becomes part of the song forever. Once you see that what you call imperfection is part of the whole, you can stop treating yourself like some broken exception to the rule. You're not some foreign object dropped into the universe. You're as much part of its movement as wind through trees and foam on the shore. Love yourself for trying, even when things don't turn out like you hoped. A mistake isn't proof you're inadequate. It's evidence you were moving, engaged in the game, taking part in the dance. Only the still unmoving stone makes no errors, but it also never lives. Forgiving yourself is often harder than forgiving others because you remember every tiny blunder and replay it endlessly. But there's no need to keep doing that. The past is finished. You can't erase it, but you can stop dragging it around like chains. See what it taught you, Take the lesson and drop the rest, and extend this same compassion outward to others. Early in life, we must decide whether other people's mistakes are bigger than our love for them. Most bitterness in the world comes from forgetting that everyone is fumbling along in the same human way. To love the flawed self and the flawed selves of others isn't to excuse everything, but to see that nothing and no one has ever been outside the great pattern. If you've made a mistake, see it for what it is. Don't waste energy hiding it or dressing it up pretty. That's just adding another mistake on top. The value of an error is in what it shows you. Guilt is useful for about 5 minutes. It lets you notice something is off, but after that it's just dragging a corpse around. Learn what it taught you and move on. Success isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about not making the same one over and over. Each wrong turn points you somewhere else. The more turns you take, the more of the map you discover. A mistake can sit on your back like a heavy burden, or you can put it under your feet and step up on it. That's the difference between being crushed and being lifted by experience. When you look closely, you'll see mistakes aren't interruptions to life. They're woven into its very fabric, each one a thread leading you to the next chapter. We rarely see it in the moment. Usually we hate our mistakes. We replay them, curse them, wish desperately we could undo them. But time makes it easier to see the value hiding inside. One day you look back and realize that wrong turn pushed you to the right path. That heartbreak cracked you open enough to see more deeply, feel more fully. Without those disasters you cursed, you'd still be standing where you were, unchanged, untested, unmoved. Every mistake was a bridge connecting you from the person you were to the person you could become. Without crossing those bridges, life would have simply stayed flat and the same. Without them, there's no movement, no variation, no discovery. Like in music, the wrong note played in the right rhythm becomes part of the song. So go make new mistakes. Don't keep polishing the old ones until they shine. Play something else. Make glorious, ridiculous mistakes. Make the kind nobody has thought of before. Life isn't a problem you're supposed to solve. It's an experience you're supposed to have. And an experience without the unexpected is no experience at all. The sooner you make your first 1,000 mistakes, the sooner you'll know how to work with them, how to dance with them. The more you risk the wrong note, the richer your music becomes. So go on, try things. Fall down, miss the step, strike the wrong chord, but do it in time. Do it with awareness. Keep dancing while the music is playing. Because the great game was never about avoiding mistakes. It was about seeing that you cannot make a wrong move in the dance of the whole. Love your mistakes, they're the only proof you're alive.